So we're joined now by Fraser Franks. Fraser, first of all, congratulations on the news of your newborn child. How's fatherhood treating you now after your retirement?
Yeah, I'm loving it. She came along 6 weeks ago now, just after the player final. Yeah, she's been brilliant. Me and my wife are loving it, and it's been the perfect distraction for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, she actually could have given birth during that player final. Just tell us how close it actually was to that.
It was close. I was thinking about not going. She did. Yeah, she wanted me out of the house, I think. So she sent me there. I was a bit nervous during the game anyway, watching Newport, but I was just constantly checking my phone. And then yeah, shot back straight after the game, and she started contracting around midnight. And then yeah, the next day she was in labour, so it was a tight one.
Yeah, nervous time for you, I suppose, right?
It was on and off the pitch, because I was watching, the team that I've grown to love this last year in a player final, and then having my own stuff going on. It was a hectic couple of days, but no, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, you've had obviously to retire. We'll get onto that more towards the end of the podcast. But despite your career ending so quickly, how thankful are you for your career that you've had in football?
Yeah, massively.
So far, of course.
I can look back and I've been a pro now for 12 years. I've been full time since the age of 16. I've managed to win promotions and travel the world really playing football. Had some unbelievable experiences. Most of my best friends are ex-teammates, and yeah, I'm incredibly thankful.
Just describe, for people who don't know, people who follow the Championship, and just describe what sort of footballer you have been in your career. How would you sum yourself up?
First and foremost, a defender. Took pride in keeping clean sheets and winning headers, winning tackles. But yeah, also I like to get down and play. I joined Newport because that's the way Mike Flynn wanted to play, and it really suited me in the end. A little bit frustrating that my career's ended when I felt like I was in a little bit of a prime, but as I said, I look back and I've got no regrets, and yeah, I'm really thankful.
Yeah, you say that you're a modern sort of footballer, and nowadays people are more and more looking for that style of football with a centre half who can play a bit as well. I'm guessing that's part of the frustration that your career ending at this stage, when that seems to be the in thing sort of at the minute.
Yeah, it is. I think if you look back at old goalkeepers and defenders, it was clear lines first and foremost. Now it's the game's evolved. There's a lot more athletes in the game. There's a lot more teams trying to play the right way, I think. And if I do end up going into some kind of coaching, I'll try and take that with me.
Just take us back to sort of like your childhood now. Just who was your inspiration to get into football when you were young?
I grew up in South London. I was a Chelsea fan growing up, so I used to always love watching Chelsea. People like Zola. Until I was about 12, 13 as a striker. But yeah, I joined Chelsea at the age of 9. Gave me a great upbringing on and off the pitch. I think they look to improve you as a person as well as a player. And yeah, I loved my time there. I had a brother that I could go and play football in the street with, and luckily I had a single mum who didn't drive or anything like that, and she took me all over the country in trains and buses. So without her, I probably wouldn't have had a career. But I had a real good upbringing, and Chelsea played a big part in that.
We should say it's a bit echoey because we are in Newport County exchange rooms at the time, and it's pretty empty, of course, with it being off season. Just tell us more about Chelsea. You mentioned there, you supported them growing up. What was it like when you first were coming through at the club, having the opportunity to represent the team you supported?
When I look back, probably I was quite a nervous kid, and it was probably a little bit daunting for me. I was always probably in awe of being there, being a Chelsea fan, and always thinking, do I deserve to be here? But I loved it. I was there from 9 till 15, 16, and that's when the investment started. You started getting a lot more foreign players coming over, and they were head and shoulders above me. I had no complaints when I was released and didn't get a scholarship. And then I went on to Brentford, and I've had a few knockbacks, but I managed to, my dream all along was to be a professional footballer in the Football League, and managed to achieve it.
Yeah, you mentioned there, you sort of touched on it, but when the investment did come in, did you see that as an opportunity to come through, or did you sort of like back off a little bit and think it's not going to happen yet?
A little bit. I wasn't the most confident anyway, but you started getting. I didn't have a growth spurt until I was probably 16, 17. You started getting real athletes coming through. I remember the likes of Patrick Van Arnholt and there was Jeffrey Bruma, who've both gone on to play for Holland's first team. There was a lot of that type coming through, and you could just see they were head and shoulders above most of what we had there. And they've gone on to have great careers.
Do you think that's been an issue with Chelsea over the years, having sort of too much talent in the youth sales? Obviously, not many players have managed to come through, despite the recent arrivals of Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Callum Hudson-Odoi. There's not a lot of players who've actually made it through the academy system. Not
for Chelsea. I think I've gone back to the academy since, and I've got a few friends that are coaching there now, and they've showed me a few things. They do. Chelsea still class successes. As I said, they try and bring through good people and help people have careers. And in my sort of era, you had people like Jack Cork, who went on to play for England. Andy King plays for Wales, won the Premier League. Ryan Bertrand came through and won the Champions League. So they do. Sometimes you don't always see it in Chelsea's first team.
Yeah, it's a shame they didn't get that chance, I suppose.
It is, but I'm hoping now with Frank Lampard's just gone there that and the transfer ban that'll be a massive thing that he wants to bring in. Another lad that came through with us, Joe Edwards, who was released at 16, is now progressed from academy coach to first team coach. So he's one that definitely want to bring through some youngsters.
Yeah, of course, Frank did bring a few youngsters into Derby, set up last season in the EFL. And you then went to Brentford, dropped down to the EFL. But a tough start to your career, wasn't it? Not really getting a chance to shine there either, did you?
No, it's such a weird, it's such a different generation now where most teams have an under 23 team. Back when this is just over 10 years ago now. I was the only one from my youth team. Actually, there's two of us who got professional contracts. And if you're not ready to go straight from the youth team to be a starting player, that was it. You're out the door. Brentford didn't have the finances there then. They didn't have a reserve team. They didn't have a 23s team. So if you weren't starting or coming on at 18 years old, that was it. You were gone. And that was the case. And I loved my time at Brentford. In the youth team, had a first year pro, and I knew that I wasn't going to get a sniff in the first team, so I knew I had to drop down again and try and establish myself. Eventually,
you did get that chance though with Wimbledon. Team obviously on the up at the time, and a successful first season as well, which was cruelly cut short. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, it was. Again, it was a club, a real family club, one that was not far from me, and I knew the history with the old Wimbledon and the AFC Wimbledon, and I bought straight into it. We had a real young squad, no budget at all, and just like young and hungry players that had been in a similar situation as me, where they'd not got a chance at another club, dropped down to Wimbledon, and seemed to find a bit of a home. And it was my first taste of men's football. We were flying. We were second in the league, and then I think it was about a month before the playoffs started, I did my cruciate ligament away at Grimsby, so it put me out for about 9 months. So that killed my momentum a little bit, but we ended up winning the playoffs on penalties, and then I was back in the football league the season after, but didn't have a pre-season. I came back fit just after Christmas and didn't really get a look in again. And then I had to really drop down and try and establish myself properly as a player that I'd always been told that you've not played enough games, you've had injuries. So it was a really make or break when I did leave Wimbledon.
Yeah, we'll get on to more of that in a moment, but just tell us what it was like to miss that playoff final. That must have been very tough for you at the time.
Yeah, it was. It was a massive occasion. I was only, I think, just turned 19 at the time. I was playing week in, week out in the conference. massive fan base, and we played Luton in the final. That was another massive fan base. So it was a big game, big occasion. But equally, I was on the sidelines cheering the boys on, and it was an unbelievable feeling when we ended up winning on penalties.
And just tell us though what it is like. You say it was an unbelievable feeling, but not being involved, being on the sidelines for a match like that, when you're not involved, what is that sort of feeling?
It's tough. You see, I remember this, it was at the Etihad Stadium, and you see the boys training on the pitch the day before, and then everyone walking out and stuff like that. You do feel a little bit left out as such, but we had a real togetherness in that squad, and the manager and the players made me feel part of it. I think I played 25, 26 games up until that point, and yeah, they were real good friends of mine that obviously I wanted to be part of, and wanted them to be a success. And yeah, it was. I didn't play, but it was still an unbelievable day.
Yeah, and like you touched on earlier, you did get a little bit of a chance in the EFL, not much of a chance at the time. How much did that injury hamper your development going into the season afterwards? Because obviously those sort of injuries aren't easy to come back from.
No, it was tough. I've known a few players that have had cruciate injuries, and it's probably one of the worst ones. I think you're back quicker if you break your leg and stuff. So yeah, it was tough. I got sent out on loan to get match fitness. Came back. We were struggling a little bit in the league with Wimbledon that year. The first year in League Two, it was a tough year for me. Didn't really play many games. Didn't get much of a look in, and I did actually speak to the management at the end of the season, who said, "Look, you can, it's basically up to you if you want to stay on. We see you as a little bit of a squad player now, or you can go away and try and make a name for yourself."
What is it like as well? I want to touch on this for people who it doesn't tend to be told the story of people going on loan. What is that experience like? Because I imagine it's quite an unsettling time when you're going on loan time to prove yourself, and then prove yourself to a new set of teammates, a new manager, not having a permanent future there.
It depends. Sometimes I've seen loan players come in and really buy into it. I think particularly if you go on a season on loan, you're there for a season. You've got your head around it. You're part of this team. For me, I was going on a 1 month loan here and a 1 month loan there, and I didn't really want to go. I wanted to stay at Wimbledon. So looking back, I was a little bit frustrated when I did go out, and probably didn't go in with the attitude that I should have done. But I was 19 and 20 and still maturing, and I probably would have gone in with a little bit of a different mindset later on in my career.
Yeah, because you came from, I'm not saying non-league, it's totally professional, but that environment, when you're stepping up, it can be a lot for a young player to take in.
Yeah, it's tough, and as I said, I was really settled at Wimbledon, and then the injury did hamper me. But no, I went on loan, came back, and the main thing was that I did, by the back end of that season, I did feel fit and felt like I was back to the old me and could go out and pain free. I could play and I could train, so that was the main thing for me. And
of course, one of the loans was here at Newport as well. But just tell us about that experience, and did it actually make you want to come back to the club?
It did. That was Justin Edinburgh who brought me in at that time. Newport were in the conference, and it was a completely different club at the time. He came in and could only sign loan players, and ended up, I think he brought 7 or 8 in on loan, and we all played the first game, and then the club got hit with a fine because you only allowed 5 loan players in the squad. So it was a bizarre situation, and so it meant 3 loan players had to miss out.
So you suffered as a consequence of that rule.
So you just brought in, and there happened to be 2 fit centre halves, so I was here, but I couldn't physically get in the squad because there were too many loan players. So again, that was a frustrating time and quite a bizarre one. But I was in talks with Justin, who was also going to bring me here that season, but I chose not to come at that point and stay closer to home.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that probably next now, but for Justin to work with him, obviously his past now, but what was it like from your brief experience with him as a character? We heard a lot about him being, you know, the life and soul of, you know, Luton Town.
Yeah, definitely. He was a strange one because I was only here for a month, 6 weeks. So I only played 1 or 2 games under him. But we actually, there was 4 of us that lived together in a hotel, so I was with him, 24/7. There was nothing else down there, and he was the life and soul. And used to join in training all the time and kick people up in the air. But he was a real good guy, and he's one that I've actually stayed in contact with ever since. So this is probably 8 years ago now, and if I've had a good game or if I've achieved something, I'll always get a text from him. So he's going to be massively missed. But I'm hoping Leighton Orient do really well this season and can carry on for him.
Yeah, a very, very classy man to deal with. I want to touch on as well. You talked about it there in terms of not coming back to Newport because of, obviously it's quite far away for you from where you're originally from. But at that stage in your career, was that difficult with the fact that it was the first time you properly being away from home essentially?
A little bit, and I didn't mind it as such. I would have moved away. I just knew the year that I was going to have was going to be make or break for me, and I couldn't go somewhere and be in and out. I had to go somewhere, play week in, week out, and try and find out what I was like as a player and experience things, experience a full season injury free. I needed to do that, so that was my only reason, along with the location that I didn't end up staying.
You eventually did get a permanent move, and you had to drop down, obviously, to the Conference South at the time. What was that like for you, having to after making it to the EFL, having to drop down 2 divisions? Why did you do it?
It was tough. It was, it's a little bit of pride. You see your friends. Jesus, you're dropping down to a part-time team. That's going to be you done. That was the impression I got. But I almost knew what I was doing. I spoke to Jamie Day, who was the manager at the time. He said, "Look, drop down here." I did have a decent few offers in the leagues above, but he said, "Drop down here, play here for a year," and he was like, "I'll guarantee that you'll develop and you'll move on." And I bought into it. It was tough. It was I was training 2 nights a week. I've never known that before. I was going to the park on my own during the days with a bag of balls and some cones, and it was the most demeaning thing ever when you're in a park on your own and you're seeing your friends that are still full-time training every day and enjoying it. But it was probably the hardest I've ever worked that season on and off the pitch. I really dedicated myself. Everything that I did was to get a move back to the Football League. We managed to go on and win the league that year, and I had a great time there at Wellington.
Yeah, you seem to sort of gain your confidence back, didn't you? Was that part of it, dropping down, the fact that you knew you were going to get minutes?
I did, yeah. I knew that I was going to play week in, week out, and that's the main thing that summer was I was 20 by this point. Every manager I spoke to was like, "You're a little bit inexperienced," and I didn't want that tag, so I knew I had to go somewhere, play 50, 60 games, and then people couldn't say that to me anymore. That was the biggest frustration for me at the time. But no, I went there. I see a lot of lads drop down and they go there with the wrong attitude. They drop down to non-league, they get into the lifestyle, they get lazy, just turn up and train on a Tuesday and Thursday. And there's some old players in the Conference South that can do that because they've got jobs and they're not ambitious to get back in the league. They're happy doing that. But I was so dedicated that year and a half that I spent there, and for me that's when my career really started.
Yeah, and of course then you earned your move to Luton at the time. Just tell us how that sort of came about, because obviously a big move, big football club.
Yeah, I had a buyout clause in my Luton contract, and in my Welling contract, sorry. So clubs knew that if they bid a certain amount, they could get me. And the year that we got promoted to the Conference of Welling, when I really started to shine and started to play with a lot of confidence and develop. And I ended up having a head office from Forest Green, Colchester, Luton. and Stevenage at the time. So it was, I was in a real good position for once.
All clubs set up as well.
So I was in a real good position at the time, and I went and spoke to Forest Green first. Then I'd gone in for a couple of days with Stevenage, and then I ended up being between Colchester and Luton that I was going to sign for. Colchester were bottom of League One at the time, and Luton were top of the conference. So both teams looked as if they were going to be in League Two the next year. And I just went to Luton Stadium, saw the fan base that they had, and some of the players they had, and I really bought into it, and literally turned up for the meeting and signed there and then.
Yeah, like I say, a club on the up, I believe they were top of the league as well when you signed for them. I'm guessing that was a big part of why you want to move there.
Yeah, I wanted to, I'd won promotion with Wimbledon. 2 years later, I'd won promotion with Welling, and then this is the following season. I wanted another one. I was hungry for it. I played for England C at this time and started becoming good friends with Andre Gray, who was calling me up, trying to get me to join him at Luton. And he ended up actually being quite a big influence on it because I ended up living in the same block as him. Became like a real good friend of mine, and he was one that I sort of went to and asked him what the club was like and bought into it.
Yeah, obviously he's had the miraculous step up to the Premier League. Can you just tell us your best story about Andre, if you can reveal it on this one? It's obviously it's a family show.
Yeah, I've got a few that are not
suitable.
Not suitable, yeah. No, when we won the league for Luton, we actually were relying on Cambridge to lose a game. So me and him were just watching it in his flat. So that was a good night, and a few bottles got drunk after Cambridge got beat that night and we won the league. But I've got some good memories from that year. We had a good holiday after the promotion as well. So yeah, but he's gone on to have an unbelievable career.
You have his keep the lips sealed, I take it, with some of the stories.
Yeah, I think I will. I'll get him in trouble.
Yeah, nowadays with social media, as we were talking about before, actually on camera, you can get in trouble, can't you? Just then, the season after, obviously, you've got that promotion, third promotion in 4 seasons, a fantastic achievement. What was the season like after for you, though? Because you didn't really get that much of a chance, did you, in the EFL? Why was it?
It was a little bit, I don't know, it was a strange one, because I'd come in and played every game in the conference and got us into the League Two, and then that summer was a little bit of a change in the way we played. John Steele he's been a top manager, but he was probably someone that maybe our styles clashed a little bit. I'm not saying he didn't want you to play, but I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had the shackles off as much when I was playing there. And it was just one of them years. We were average that year. We'd win one, then we'd lose one. There was a lot of change in the team, and we probably should have done a little bit better that year.
Just tell us as well, after that season, do you think you should have, like you sort of touched on there, but do you think you should have got that chance to actually, play EFL football at the time? Because you had served your sort of apprenticeship in non-league, haven't you?
Yeah, I was a little bit frustrated because it was, going to Luton, I didn't want to just, be the conference player that got them up. I wanted to, I could see the vision of the club, and I knew they'd be in the championship within, 5 or 6 years, and I wanted to be a part of that. But sometimes you just go, maybe you go to the right club at the wrong time. I think maybe under the next manager, I might have done a little bit better there. But no, I didn't hold any grudges against John Steele and the club. I loved it there. But there came an opportunity at the end of that season where Teddy Sheringham had taken over at Stevenage and had contacted the club and contacted me, and it just seemed like a good move for me at the time. It was going to another League Two club, but one that they saw me as a key player. So I definitely wanted to make the move. Yeah,
and you really made an impact when you made that move. You were Players' Player of the Year in your first season. What was that like at the time for your confidence as a player? Because you had all those knockbacks when you got to the league previously, but you finally established yourself in League Two.
Yeah, that was the main thing. I wanted to. I'd had so many ups and downs and never quite cracked being in the league, and it was a big frustration to me because I did believe in my ability that I was good enough to play League Two, League One. I just needed somewhere where they would let me do it, basically. Teddy Sheringham brought me in. Had a real good season that year. I played near enough every game. Won Players Player of the Year, Fans Player of the Year, stuff like that, and that was massive for me. I'd always had like a little tick list of what I wanted to get done, and that was something that was on there to do that.
And a consistent few seasons as well after that for you. Did you believe you were coming into the peak of your career? Obviously it's just recently. Did you believe you were coming into the peak of your career at that time?
Yeah, I'd always quite thrived off being one of the senior players, and I always thought I would do well at that. I enjoy giving advice to young players and being one of the leaders and one of the voices in the changing room. And I did feel like I was really consistent. For Stevenage, I played over 120 games, 130 games. So I started getting a lot more experience. I did really enjoy it. I think the second season I was there, we had the squad to get promoted. It's a big frustration because we missed out on the playoffs in the last day of the season, but we had a real good squad that year, and I believe we were good enough to go up.
And now just tell us, obviously after that you came back to here to Newport. How did that move come about? How were you attracted back to Newport? Because you might be saying that you're doing well at Stevenage.
Yeah, it was another strange one because the year. So I've done 2 years at Stevenage, and then I can talk about it now. I've never been allowed to talk about it. But I had Lincoln came in for me that year that they first went into the Football League, and I could also see what the Cowley brothers were doing, and I wanted to try and make that step if I could. Stevenage rejected it, but it didn't affect me. I carried on playing football, and then in January I had a chance. Well, Motherwell came in for me, and that was also something I wanted to do. I wanted to play in a top flight somewhere, and to play in the Scottish Premier would have been a good move for me at the time. So I was a little bit frustrated that Stevenage didn't let me go, because there was like a change in manager at Stevenage. I'd come out of the team for a month or so, and I just went in and said, look, I know Motherwell coming for me, will you let me go? And they didn't, and I didn't really get a look in after I made it clear that I wanted to leave. And then that summer, circumstances had changed at Motherwell a little bit, so that move was no longer there. But Mike Flynn was the first manager that contacted me in the summer. Made it really clear that you're my number one target. I can see you doing really well at Newport. And the season before they played against Spurs, and they just missed out on the playoffs, and you could see that they were going from this club that were on the way down to now on the way up. Yeah,
what was it about Michael Flynn? You touched it there, talking about the fact that I'm guessing he instilled confidence in you by saying giving you that pat on the back, and saying that he was you were his number one target. I'm guessing that was vital in getting you on board.
Yeah, I think it's a strange situation where when you're out of contract in the summer, a lot of this stuff happens later down the line, and you're sat at home checking your phone. But as I said, he was. I think the season was still going on at Stevenage when he got in touch with me and knew that I was out of contract, and phoned me up, explained what he was doing, where the club was going, and I ended up buying into it, and it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
What is it like as a man to work for? Because we see he's a charismatic figure on the touchline. As a person in training, what is it like to play?
Very enthusiastic, very lively, energetic. Still joins in quite a lot, and
is he good in the fight?
He's not bad, to be fair, and he lets you know about it. I bet he was a cocky player. I give him that, but no, he was brilliant for me. Brilliant for everyone here. He's just one of the managers that simplifies the game, lets you go out and play with confidence, doesn't overcomplicate things. He knows the right characters to bring in. You've got to be, to sign for Newport. There's so many little things behind the scenes that you can't have any ego. You have to buy into what the club are doing, otherwise it doesn't work for you here. And he's good at spotting those characters, and and it's paid off in the last few years.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it seems that there isn't a strong team bond here. You know, everyone at the club is together behind.
Yeah, it's not just the players; it's like the management, the fans. I've got a great relationship with the chairman, which I've never had at any other club, which is quite rare that you have that kind of bond with an owner, with a chairman, with a manager. But not just that, the community and the fans is something that I've not really experienced here. I think where Newport is quite a big catchment area, you've only got Cardiff and Swansea really that are nearby. So if you move to Newport and you're out in the town, or you're out shopping or anything like that, you're bumping into Newport fans left, right, and centre. So it's a massive fan base here, and it's a massive community club, and one that I've grown to love here.
Yeah, we saw the fan base at Wimbledon recently, of course, but in terms of obviously you've only played the one full season. What was it like? You had that connection straight away, didn't you? Like you've talked about there in terms of the fans and the support. How did that all come about in terms of having the bond so quickly, with gelling so quickly into the area as well? Because obviously you're a London boy yourself, so it's a bit different too.
Yeah, it is. But no, I always said that wherever I sign, I want to commit to, and me and my wife moved it straight away, and were made to feel unbelievably welcome. The chairman does a thing every year where he gets the whole squad together for a big barbecue, so all the families meet each other, all the kids, and that's massive for team bonding. And because most of these players are moved, hardly anyone's from Newport, so you're moving your whole family here, and that's quite a big thing to take on as well. And you've got a wife and kids that you're taking away from their friends, and some of them are coming out of schools to move here, so it's a big commitment and something that goes unseen quite a bit. But no, as I said, for some reason I started off really well here, and the fans took to me, and it went really well.
And of course, the way it went really well was the FA Cup run.
Yeah.
Of course, the famous FA Cup run. They had the previous years as well when you weren't here. Did you sense at that time that when you were going into those massive games against Leicester, the games against Middlesbrough, the games against Man City, did you sense that the tradition of the club to be in those games, to be up for those occasions was there? Yeah,
it's an underdog club. You can tell that from the history of the club. But the FA Cup run was surreal, because the first game we had with Met Police, who were the lowest ranked team in it, and for the first time we were massive they were a massive underdog, sorry. And we went there and they give us a proper game. We won, I think we won 2-0 at the end, but they give us a proper game.
Yes, the game doesn't really suit you.
It was the conditions were horrendous. It was perfect for an FA Cup upset, but luckily we got through that one. And then we had a Welsh derby against Wrexham, which is another tough one. They took us to a replay, and luckily we survived that one and won 4-0 here. But just going into the Leicester game, there's just something about playing at this stadium that it just gives us a massive belief that anything can happen here. They saw it last year when they beaten Leeds, took Tottenham's strongest team to literally last minute to equalise against them. And when we went out against Leicester, we just you get a feeling in the game, and the first couple of minutes went our way, and I was really confident that we win that one.
Yeah, did the manager instill that, or was that just a team bond behind the identity of the club?
There's a little bit of both, a little bit of everything. That people say the magic of the FA Cup's dead, but for a League Two team, it's everything to us. That game was huge, and just going into it, I don't know. You just get a feel when you go out. I remember winning my first header, and there was a massive roar, and I was like these might not fancy it against us today. And it ended up being the case, and they played a real strong team that day and showed us a lot of respect. But we seemed to rise to the occasion in the big games, the ones that we weren't expected to win.
And you swapped shirts with Morgan?
Wes Morgan.
Yeah. So what was that like as well? Because obviously well-respected centre half, was one that captained Leicester to the Premier League, of course. I'm guessing that was fun.
Yeah, so we were both captain that day, and I had my nephew as mascot, who I said to him, whose shirt do you want? And he said, well, it's Morgan, so I had to get that one for him. But yeah, he's captained the miracle of Leicester winning the Prem, so that's definitely one I wanted to get.
What was it like to have the honour of captaining this team, representing, talking about an area which is, like you said, not many football clubs around here, to represent a team against one of the biggest teams in world football, in Man City later on.
Yeah.
What was that like for you to have that honour?
Yes, it was massive. Again, I said I had like a little tick list of what I wanted to get done in my career, and to captain a club was one of that as well. And to do it in my first season, as I came here, was a massive honour, especially in the big games. As I said, it's a weird one because I played as a League Two team. You don't really get many opportunities on TV. I'd had a couple in the past, and I remember at Luton I scored an own goal on TV, and didn't have the best of games for my family to watch. But to have a game on, it was on BBC, and the viewing figures came out after, and it was about 6 million people that watched it, and all your family and friends watching this. It'd be a massive highlight when I look back at my career that night.
Maybe you effectively become a celebrity overnight, don't you? Just tell us about that Man City game, though. After the obviously shot to Middlesbrough right after that. What was the build-up like to that game? Because everyone knew now about Newport, everyone knew what you were about. Did you have the belief that you could even cause an even bigger upset, I suppose the ultimate upset with trying to be the eventual winners?
I'll be lying if I said we were confident of winning, but we went in with a belief that we could give them a game. I think the week or the couple of weeks before, they'd had the Carling Cup semi-final against Burton, and I think they'd beaten 10-0 or on aggregate.
Yeah, I'm guessing that doesn't instill.
So that wasn't the most. Yeah, that wasn't the biggest thing for us, but no, just the build-up to it was just surreal, really. I remember Pep Guardiola doing a press conference before, and he near enough named our whole squad. He was like, "No, this is how serious we take it. He plays here, he plays there. I know what he can do, I know what he can do." And we were just like wow, he's mentioning us in his press conference. And then they came down, and they just paid us massive respect. It was a strange one when you come in, you do the captain thing, and then the team sheets get exchanged, and then the manager puts the team up on the board. And then when he's writing down some of their names, and you're seeing David Silva, Fernandinho, John Stones, Leroy Sané, Mahrez, you're just like, Jesus Christ, these are...
Do you feel the pressure when you see all this?
I think it's probably the opposite. You're expected to, they're expected to put 5 or 6 past us at least. But it's just a massive thing for everyone. Like for our families that are watching us, my nephew's been supporting me since I was at Welling, and to see him, he was walking out with Conference South players with me, and now to have him walking out with Premier League winners and some of his heroes, it gives him great memories for when he's grown up as well.
It's inspiring the next generation.
Yeah, I think because Newport, the club went under and lost a massive chunk of the fan base through them years, and I think we've got that back this year where all the local kids got behind it, and they could see oh wow, Newport are doing well. I'll start watching them now. So hopefully this has put the club on the map a little bit and given the club some stability going forward.
Yeah, I think we saw a similar thing with Luton City over the years.
Yeah.
Just though, now from that incredible high note, then to the incredible low, just days afterwards, did you notice the symptoms at the time? Did you feel anything was wrong? Just talk us through it.
No, so I played the Man City game on the Saturday. We then had Notts County on the Tuesday, and we won 4-1 in that game. That ended up being my last game. I scored in that as well, so I felt fine. And then I came off with about 10 minutes to go. Just felt a bit exhausted, really. Just didn't really think anything of it. We'd had a lot of games. I'd had an ankle injury and I'd not long come back, so I was still getting back into the swing of things, so I didn't think anything of it. And then the day after, I just started feeling a little bit unwell. And then 7 or 8 o'clock at night, I just took myself to bed, whereas I've had it before, just where I'd had a cold or whatever, just sweating a little bit and then going hot and cold and shivering and that kind of thing, but I couldn't shake it off, and then I started getting pains in my chest and heart palpitations, and I said to my wife, look, you're gonna have to take me to hospital here. And that was the first and the only symptoms I really got. They took me through to resus, and that's when I knew, I was in there, and then literally next curtain to me, someone was having his chest pumped, and I was like, Jesus Christ. So I knew it was a little bit serious. And then, I was put on antibiotics, but I had an infection in it around the heart, but didn't know what caused it or if that was the only extent to it. And then, later on down the line, I had to have loads and loads of tests and cameras put down and stuff like that. And then that's when I eventually got the news around, probably about 10 days later.
Did you know at the time? Did you feel as if when those tests were going through, did you have a feeling that this would be the end of your playing career?
It's hard to say, but I had a doctor in there that would always come and chat to me. He was into his football. He was a proper football fan, knew all about Newport. I think he actually came to the Newport Man City game. So he'd always come in and keep me updated, and he'd just come in probably about 4 or 5 days later and said, look, I've seen something on one of your scans. If it is what I think it is, then this could be bad news for you. So that was the first inkling I got that this could be serious here. And it did turn out to be bad news, and about a week after that I was told or advised to retire, and then I had to see some more specialists who confirmed it.
How bad did you feel when you got the news that you couldn't continue playing career? I'm guessing it was a crushing blow because, like we touched on earlier, so many highs, so recently as well, and to have it all come crashing down, I can't imagine what it was like to take.
No, it was completely surreal. Just going in there thinking, the main thing I didn't want, I went in on a Wednesday, and we were training on a Thursday, and I was glad I got to missing training. And then to be told that you're going to be, that's you done, no more training, no more games, that's a lot, was surreal, and it did take me a little while to get the head around it and get over it. And the first couple of weeks were tough with anxiety and just panicking what you're going to do next and how you're going to support your family. Probably didn't even think as much about the playing side of it, it's more the stuff that comes with it. That first couple of weeks were tough, but I've got good people around me, and I've started to see life does go on, and I've been dealt this blow, but I've got to deal with it now.
I can't speak that. What was it like for you in terms of actually coming to the news that you couldn't play again, and having to deal with that mentally? How have you dealt with it mentally? How have you managed to? Has it sunk in yet?
I still don't know if it has, because it's been such a whirlwind season, and then to have this on top of everything, it's been mad. The whole year that it's only just been a year that I've signed for Newport, so the whole thing's been mad. But I still get days where I'm at home and I'm on the floor stretching and stuff like that, and then I think to myself, I'm not actually playing anymore, so I don't know if I need to be doing this. But you still get days where I think the most frustrating thing for me is if it was something that I could feel. If I had a bad knee, I could run it off, or I could tell that there was something wrong. With a heart, you can't take any kind of risks. There's actually a lot. But also, I feel now the infection is cleared up, I feel fine in myself. I feel like, I could go out and do something. That's probably the most frustrating thing. But I'm coming to terms with it. It's tough when you're seeing, when the boys got to play a final, I was buzzing for them, but then part of me is like, that should be me out there. And then you see them go back to pre-season and go away on tours to Spain and things like that, and you're sat at home. It is tough sometimes, but then I've got so much to be grateful for that. I'm healthy and I'm happy. Is talking to people something that helps you, come to terms with it? Talking about it, well, is that something that's good for you in terms of getting over something which is so
so fresh?
Definitely. The first couple of weeks where my wife was pregnant and going through her own stuff, I didn't want to speak about it, I didn't want to talk to anyone. And then during the days I'd be pretty much fine, and then I go to bed at night, and when it's quiet and you've got time to think, I wasn't getting to sleep till, but most nights I wasn't sleeping at all. So you're just replaying things in your head, and you're going through worst case scenarios, what can happen next, what am I going to do here. So then, I think speaking to people is, it's always healthy, and getting some feedback from people as well, which, in your head you've only got your own answers, where if you listen to other people, it helps you through the process, I think.
Are you thankful now, or when we've had a chance to process it a little bit now, are you thankful for the career that you've managed to have? Because you have still achieved so much to become a professional footballer. Only a select few people, of course, get that opportunity.
No, as I said, my dream was always to be a professional. Obviously I wanted to go as high as I could, but to be a professional footballer and have that as my job. When you're asked in school what you want to be, that was always my answer. If they said, a lot of kids don't do that, I was always like, no, I will. To achieve that is massive for me, and something I can look back with pride. I'm 28 now. If this happened when I was 16, it may have been a different story, but I've had 12 years and nothing bad's happened to me on the pitch through the condition that I've got, and I can control it now, and go on and hopefully have an impact in football still, and have another career.
And just talk about, I know the club have been so supportive of you. Just tell us what they've done for you after hearing the news that you weren't going to continue to play a career.
They literally couldn't have done any more for me, to be fair. Not just me, but my family as well. I remember sitting down with the chairman days after it was announced, and got his laptop open and was like, look, this is what I want to do for you. So they honoured the rest of my contract, which they didn't have to do. And for a club in League Two, that's
it's a big financial commitment.
It's huge. You need to save every penny you can when you're at our level, and for them to do that was massive for me and my family. Because that couple of weeks, I was also thinking, that's me done now. I'm not going to be earning any money. I'm going to have to go out and do something straight away, and that was a big thing in my head. So even him doing that just was a huge weight off my mind. First of all, just gave me a little bit of time to get my head around it and figure out what I want to do. And then, so he said that, and then he also said about the friendly match, which they've pre-season friendly, which they've organised for me. That's against Chelsea, so the people that brought me through at Chelsea got involved. Joe Edwards was a big part of that as well, so I have to thank him. And then obviously the biggest thing was probably the shirt, the third shirt, which the fans have really got behind, and I almost feel like I don't deserve all of this. I've been here for a season, but the fans have really took to me, and I can't thank them enough.
Another person who's been supportive as well is Fabrice Muhammad. Just tell us about how he's got involved. Of course, not having a similar sort of experience himself.
Yeah, just he got in touch pretty soon after the news came out, and just offered me a little bit of advice, and some of the worries I was having, he was having as well. Because he was a Premier League footballer doesn't mean that he doesn't have the same issues that I have when I'm thinking about my future and stuff. But no, he was brilliant. I've had a few phone calls with him, and just said he's always there if I need someone else to talk to.
He's obviously done a lot to raise awareness of the issue. Is that something you're hoping to do now as well? Because obviously it's so fresh with you. We've seen so many people over the years suffer with it. Obviously recently we've had Czech Toyota, who's just died on the pitch. It's a really serious thing, isn't it?
It is, and I think a lot more can be done. I remember I was scanned at the age of 16 at Brentford, and it came up that I had an irregular heartbeat, which they found I had a bicuspid valve. It's not connected to what I've got now, but it may have triggered something else off. So I was scanned at 16 and then never really scanned again. So if I was scanned maybe earlier, it may have been something they could do, or maybe I would have got the news a bit sooner. But I've been speaking to people, a lot of people that come through non-league, never had heart scans, and it just doesn't seem right that something so serious is getting overlooked sometimes. I've been going in and out of clubs, not necessarily speaking about the heart side of things, but looking at coaching and scouting and my next route, and then just asking a question along the way. And I went into Bristol City and I just asked them, what is your policy with scanning? They have every member of staff and every player gets scanned every year. So if they're doing it, then a lot of clubs can follow suit, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine for you as well, it's probably more difficult for the non-league clubs to be able to afford to do such a thing, but it shows you how important life is, doesn't it? You can't really put a price on the potential risk.
No, of course, and looking back, it's a little bit of a strange one because you go for these medicals when you sign for a club, and you get your ankles checked and your knees checked, and you don't check what's really going on inside. So I'm sure at the higher level they do that. They've obviously got the finances and the facilities, but I just think a little bit more can be done at the lower league level.
What's your best advice for people who may be going through something similar to yourself in similar situations? What would you say to them to get through something like this? I know it's still fresh with you, but for someone to actually experience something similar to it, what would you say to them?
I've had quite a few people get in touch with me that have gone through similar things, and I didn't really hear many stories about this, but no, my only advice is just to, I've just learned to look at the bigger picture and be thankful and grateful for what I've got, rather than looking and being a bit bitter towards what I can't do anymore. My main thing now is to find my my next career, and once I've got that, I feel like my head will be completely clear. That's the only. I still get days where my wife can spot it a mile away, where I'm just quiet and I'm on my phone and I'm looking at things and I'm thinking, and that's just because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do next and how I'm going to support the family. But once I've got that stage sorted, then then I'll hopefully be set. Because I'm grateful for a lot of the stuff I've been able to achieve and a lot of stuff that I'm still going to achieve. So my advice is to have good people around you, and just life goes on. And how important has your daughter been for you as well in terms of getting over it? I imagine that's taking your mind off it massively. At first it was probably the other way around, where my wife was pregnant and it was another thing I was worried about, and I was also thinking, how am I going to afford to give her the life that I want to give her? But then when after those couple of weeks had passed, and it was the biggest blessing I could have had, and a massive distraction for me. I've been able to be there for the first month of her life, and I'm loving it so far. I imagine you really put things into perspective, doesn't it? When you have a child now, and you're supporting them with the fact that what you've gone through previously, but now you've got to helping someone come through it again in terms of your own child. I imagine that's quite fulfilling for you. Yeah, of course. I mean, as you said, it gives you a whole new perspective on life and shows you what's really important. When as much as I'm going to miss playing, I'm going to have days where I hate it, where I'm not allowed to do it. I can always look over there and see what I've got, and realise how lucky I am. Well, good luck being a father, and good luck with whatever you go on to do in the rest of your career. Thanks for joining us, Fraser, on the official EFL podcast. No, cheers, really appreciate it.